way you're not drunk. I was like, all right, cool. So, like, you know, I just did a bump, didn't think about it, and, like, I get pulled over, and, like, this cop asked me to, like, tilt my head back and, like, do all this shit. And, like, but again, like I said, this was, like, in a town, like, a couple thousand people. Not where I grew up with, like, a couple hundred people. But it wasn't far away. But, like, so, like, right after all this occurs, I mean, he made me do the DUI check and shit, and, like, I get back in my car, and, you know, he sits behind me and waits, and I drive away, or I was just about to drive away, and I pulled down my mirror and looked at myself, because I knew I just did coke, and I wanted to make sure I didn't have them running out of my nose. Bro, my fucking face looked like Al Pacino. I swear to God, like, dude, my whole fucking nose, white as snow. White as fucking snow. Like, this cop, and I mean, dude, like I said, he made me tilt my head back, not even on top of that, but, like, the whole bottom half of my nose and even a little bit above it was fucking white. Like, I mean, it literally looked like I must have literally dipped my face in a fucking pile of coke.
I mean, he probably like, boys will be boys.
I don't know what the fuck, but, like, he let me go. I was like, what the fuck just happened? I'm like, dude, you could clearly smell, because, I mean, we didn't drink cheap shit. You know, I mean, we used to drink, like, Crown and, like, special grade Canadian whiskeys and, like, all kinds of crazy shit.
I mean, he probably thought, like, this amount of paperwork, and they probably from that rich town that's gonna get away with it. So what's the point of it wasting my time?
I mean, he must have, but, like, I couldn't believe it.
I mean, he probably looked up your address too. He probably like, yeah.
Oh, he knew who I was. It was a cop that knew me, but I can't believe he let me go. Because it was a cop who had arrested me before for some stupid shit.
I mean, but you gotta remember, he probably got in trouble from that too.
I mean, I'm sure he did.
So why would he, like, in his eyes, he probably like, why do I want to get in trouble again for arresting you? Fuck it, do whatever you want to do. That's what's gonna happen anyway.
I mean, I guess that could pull out the white privilege right there. But that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, I'm telling you, like, whenever I looked in the mirror, there was still coke all over the bottom of my nose. Like, I mean, I was drinking. I really don't remember how I did it, but it literally looked like I just dipped my fucking nose in an 8-ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm like, this is crazy, isn't it? And, like, that's not even the only time. Like, dude, there was fucking one time. Like, dude, I mean, I was, like, tripping, drinking, smoking, and...
So it sounded like you was candy fucking flipping.
But, like, so... Actually, the funny thing is, there was a whole other part of this I'll tell too. So, like, I'm out and, like, I had to drive 10, 15 miles from my buddy's house through the mountains. And, you know, I mean, I'm not going to say that you guys should do this. Don't, you know, do drugs and drive, obviously. But, you know, okay, so I was, and my speed, I drive like an asshole. Like, I'll be the motherfucker who passes you going 100 plus.
For no damn reason.
Yeah, for no reason. I don't like being stuck in traffic. It's funny. You'll see me driving in no traffic, going slower than I am whenever there is traffic. I don't know what it is. Being in traffic freaks me out, so I will speed like fuck to get around it. But, right, so I'm over here after doing all this shit, flying up a mountain, going like 75, 80 miles an hour around like sharp-ass bends and turns. And I could see somebody trying to fucking catch me, right? And I couldn't I figured it was one of my friends or something chasing me, like trying to race me up the mountain.
Please don't tell me it was a cop.
Oh, it was fucking 2 police officers. One, so like eventually I stopped because, you know, they were following. They couldn't even catch me. I was going so fast, right?
Yeah.
And so eventually I actually pulled over and stopped in the middle of the road to see who the fuck was chasing me going 80 up a fucking mountain that has a 25 mile an hour speed limit.
What?
So, like, this cop goes, how in the fuck are you driving this fast up this mountain? And I was like, he's like, dude, he's like, you were going so fast. He's like, I couldn't even tell you how fast you were going because we couldn't even keep up to fucking calculate your speed.
What?
He was like, no radar, nothing. He was like, nothing would clock your speed because you were going so fucking fast that we couldn't even get a lock on your vehicle. And I was just like, well, I was like, I wasn't speeding. I'm like, remember, I don't know, I'm tripping, I'm fucking drinking, I'm smoking. Like, dude, I legit smelled like a fucking brewery. It smelled like a fucking pot house. And, I mean, my eyes were probably as big as fucking, you know, bugs. You know, just popping out of my fucking skull over here going, ugh. And this cop goes, He's like, I can't technically write you anything. He was like, but slow the fuck down. And he was like, you know what? He was like, and he like hands me his card and he goes, I'm gonna call you tomorrow. And he's like, made me give him my number. And then like, they fucking call me the next day and they say, hey, you know, we want you to come down and show our police officers how to help catch people like you driving up a mountain.
What?
Yeah. So like,
what type of shit is this?
So I'm being serious. Like, so they asked me, and I was like, well, okay, so fuck it. Like, I went out and spent, and they gave me a couple $100 to do it. And, you know, I just went and spent the shit on weed, but hey, dude, I like legit went.
Is this a real story?
Yeah, no, I'm being serious, like dead ass. Like, no lie. I legit got pulled over. There was nothing they could do. And I mean, I don't think they really wanted to deal with it because they would have to transport me like 30 miles down the road.
So, I mean, you said you got trained to drive on. You trained on to drive on the mountains.
Yeah. So I mean,
so I just want to know, how do you drive on a mountain?
All right. So whenever I grew up, you know, we all had a lot of money and we had a lot of cars and a lot of toys. So we learned, you know, we slowly started. I mean, we've been driving up and down the mountain since we were like 10 years old. Usually, I mean, you know, our parents would be like, hey, you know, go run to the bottom of the mountain to the grocery store and go get food and shit like that. But, like, we would eventually, whenever we turned 16. Huh?
Y'all didn't have y'all butlers and nannies and helpers do it?
Nah, there really wasn't anybody out there to do that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I'm sure there would be.
Wow.
Yeah. There isn't really any Hispanics or Indian people or any, I mean, most white people ain't going to do this shit. Let's be realistic here.
Good point. Touche. Because I was about to say, that's fucked up to say. White people won't be nannies, and now I thought about it. Yeah, they won't.
Unless they're British or something, but we don't have any British people there that I'm aware of. But, like, nah, so, like, you know, we basically, and then you gotta remember, so, like, me and my friends, we would soup up our cars. Like, all of our cars and trucks had aftermarket parts. And, like, so, you know, our trucks would have super out turbos, you know, chipped out, fucking big-ass tires, racing tires on our cars and shit like that. And we would race up and down these mountains and drift. So, like, not let alone can I just drive up that mountain. I can drift up and down that bitch. You know, with as long as it has a handy brake and it's fucking the right kind of drive style, I can drift that bitch up a mountain around the turns. To a degree, it depends if it has a lift kit. If it has a lift kit, no. If it doesn't, yes, technically I can slide that ass in.
I kind of want to go and see you do this.
But like I said, it has to be a certain style of truck. Because if it has any sort of lift kit on it, you will actually have a really high chance of rolling it while you try to drift it.
So like probably like a old school Tacoma.
S10, yeah, or a Tacoma. Well, even a Tacoma kind of has a high sit.
I was talking about like the old school ones. Well, not even the old school ones, because the old school
You mean like old school Chevy with the step side bed? Oh, you can drift those bitches like no tomorrow. But the problem is you got to have an upgraded engine. Oh, those engines weren't that powerful, so we would swap those bitches out with a big block, like a big block 350 or shit like that. So, yeah, I mean, you can drift those bitches real easy because those bitches only sit a couple inches off the ground like a car. So you can make that bitch sit there and do donuts.
So this whole time you just go back to like, all right, I just want to, like, how do you train these cops to like, so once they like in your car? And you had to like...
Nah, they made me do it in theirs. But nah, I just showed them how I do it. See, okay, I guess legally how I do it isn't the safe way. It was the way they put it. But, like, we use every lane and the side of the road. Like, if somebody's in my way and I can drive through somebody else's yard, bitch, I will pass you. I will drive straight through somebody's fucking yard and pass you if I can't pass you on the other lane.
What is wrong with you?
Dude, you think I'm bad? My brother will fucking go. Okay, so like say for instance there's a dead stop of traffic and you're like right near an exit. This son of a bitch will fly across the berm and go up an exit straight through traffic, like the dirt side of the edge of the road. Oh, that's just what we called it. But like, so this bitch would go the whole way off the exit, fly across the street, fucking drive straight back the on-ramp and just fucking keep doing this the whole way down the highway. And dude, he wouldn't even stop red lights or nothing. Like, as long as he knew he could clear the traffic, He'd go through that bitch doing like 80, 90 miles an hour, straight across the 4-lane.
What is wrong with y'all?
It's just how we grew up, man. I'm telling you. This is, how we were raised. I mean, that's how my dad drives. I mean, that's how my mom drives, too, for that matter. They both are assholes like that. Like, dude, my mom, like, nobody will pass her. Like, you have to be going, like, 90 miles an hour before she will let you pass her. Like, that's, even my dad's that. Except for my dad would make you do, like, a $130 before he let you pass.
What is wrong with y'all?
I don't know. I mean, we just grew up like that. Apparently, my mom's first car was like a fucking super Mustang. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this runs some bullshit. I was like, where was my souped up car for my fucking first car? She's like, yeah, but I had to work for mine. I was like, that's not the fucking point.
So what was your first car?
Mine? My first car, I guess, well, if you go for my 16th birthday, my first 3 cars, I had a Ford Explorer Sport.
First 3?
I had a Chevy Malibu, and I had a Geo Prism. Were my first 3 cars whenever I was 16 for my 16th birthday. Yeah, I've told you this before that I always laugh at these people on TikTok and like all these other fucking things is because like, these kids are like, oh, my daddy bought me this, or oh, my daddy did this, and it's like, okay, but can your parents buy it in cash without taking out a loan? Can your parents just hand you a fucking debit card, not a credit card?
I want to cry. I didn't get my first car. I don't even want to talk about it.
Oh, I had more cars than that. That was just whenever I turned 16. And, I mean, you gotta rent, like, my very first car would have been a Dodge Charger?
Yeah.
Or, no, sorry, Dodge
Challenger?
Whatever one's 2 doors. I'm not that big into Dodge.
The Challengers.
Okay, so is that what they drove on the Dukes of Hazzards?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it would have been a Challenger. Sorry, I'm not really that big of a car person.
You just more know how to drive on the yards of other people.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I mean, I just want to go back to the cop story. So, literally, you in a cop car. So, if I would have seen you, I'd say you a cop now. I would talk so much shit. Second off, you are showing them how to drift up a mountain.
Yeah.
All throughout the streets, all throughout the sidewalks, all through people's yards.
Yeah. Literally. I did this for, I think there was like 7 or 8 police officers. And then I'd have to sit, like, I showed them how I did it, and then they would do it themselves. I mean, most of them couldn't get to the speeds that I could, but they could at least do better. I mean, dude, I legit had to stop. This cop never even put on their lights. Like, I just stopped in the middle of the road. And, because like I said, I was curious, like, who the fuck is following me up the mountain? Like, dude, I just had a gun, and I'm sitting there, I'm just like, all right, like, who's about to come up on me like this? Like, I thought somebody was trying to rob me for my drugs or something. Not the police.
Hold on, so you had drugs in the car?
Yeah, of course I did. I had pipes, weed. There probably should have been Molly, synthetic Molly at that.
I'm just looking at this story because I look at my life, and I look at your life.
Dude, I've only ever had police search my car one time, and that would have only because my dumbass friend had a fucking bag of pills, and he refused to hand it to me, and he tried shoving it underneath his leg. And then the cops were sitting there, like, asking us questions, like, the typical, what are you doing, where are you going, this shit. And, like, he's over there fucking twitching because we're speedballing. And he fucking moves his leg a little bit and showed a piece of the fucking bag. And the cop goes, get the fuck out the car. That was the only reason I've ever had any charges.
I'm pretty sure you beat his ass.
Oh, he's lucky they fucking arrested me. Because I was an adult whenever it happened. He wasn't.
Oh, wow.
So he got lucky. I actually had to fucking fight, but I only got 8 hours of community service.
What type of bullshit is this?
And then it got expunged, so that shit's not there.
What type of
bullshit? You can't see this shit at all.
What type of bullshit is this? I'm going to name this episode White Privilege.
I don't give a fuck. I mean, it's true.
From stealing from Walmart to fucking drifting in people's yards.
I mean, dude, I've done a lot of stupid shit. Like, in all seriousness. Like, that's like, whenever you... Alright, so, I'm going to tell you guys a fun story. So, I used to live out in the country, and there used to be Amish people...
Hold up, you going to finally admit it?
No. Admit what?
That you fought the